I'm sorry. It's Wednesday morning, November 5th, following election night last night. And I guess the overarching point that I want to make is that it's my fear. And at this point, I think it's a reasonable one that the elections that we had yesterday are going to be the last free and fair elections that we have for 20 or 25 years in this country. Um, Last night was amazing. Democrats won everything. They won everything. Everything that was on a ballot, Democrats won across the country, even in Texas and Georgia. Democrats won everything. That is Donald Trump's kryptonite. That is his kryptonite. The voice of the voters is his kryptonite. And he and Republicans in the House and likely the Senate, we'll see what happens with the Senate, but Donald Trump, his administration, Republicans in the House are going to do everything that they can. I don't think they're going to try to cancel the 2026 midterm elections, but I think they're going to do absolutely everything they can from every front they can imagine, such that when the 2026 midterm elections are over, nobody knows anything because everything has been so muddled. And they've gone to such great lengths to prevent certain people in this country from voting at all, with the help of the US Supreme Court, which is about to eradicate the last meaningful component of the Voting Rights Act, which is going to basically nullify the votes of black and brown people throughout the South. My fear is that last night and yesterday, those are the last free and fair elections we're going to have for a very long time. I think we will still have elections, but I think they will resemble elections that, took place under Saddam Hussein in Iraq, or elections like what they have in Russia. You know, that's Donald Trump's goal. His goal is single party rule, regardless of what the voters want. His goal is single party rule, regardless of the electorate. So, last night, was his kryptonite because the electorate spoke very loudly nationwide against him. When looked at collectively, when you look at all the election results collectively from last night, it can be seen as nothing other than a repudiation, a brutal repudiation of Donald Trump, billionaire oligarchs, the 1%, and frankly, uh, AIPAC Democrats in New York. The Democratic Party, I mean, they have a year. If 6 months from now, the entirety of the Democratic leadership in the House and the Senate is still as beholden to AIPAC in Israel as they are now, I think you're going to see a lot more candidates like Zohran Mamdani spread across the country. They're going to be popping up in places we don't really expect. And for so many people in the Democratic Party to continue to willingly be so beholden to AIPAC and the state of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, in an environment where Donald Trump and elected Republicans are doing everything in their power to take away and the Supreme Court, to take away our right to vote, to make it nearly impossible for us to physically vote, to make it easier to throw out, nullify, or cancel the votes, the ballots that we actually cast, is just egregious. It is just absolutely egregious. You know, and I mean, Donald Trump and elected Republicans want a dictatorship. They want a theocratic dictatorship with single party rule, uh, heavily influenced by white male billionaires. They want that to be the future of governance in the United States for the next generation or two. And they are working very hard at that every single fucking day. Meanwhile, Chuck Schumer still won't say publicly who he voted for mayor of New York City. And he is the Senate Minority Leader of the Democratic Party. Won't even say publicly whether or not he voted for the Democratic Party nominee for mayor of New York City. The Democratic Party is a fucking mess. It is an absolute fucking mess. And they're elitist and they talk down to people, while at the same time, they're completely held hostage by fringe interest groups on the very, very far left who don't give a shit if Democrats actually win, as long as Democratic candidates are using the proper language relative to the one issue that those groups care about. And the rest of them are held hostage by AIPAC and the Israeli government, while also being beholden to the corporations that are absolutely fucking bleeding every single one of us dry, $1 at a time. That's our alternative. Or our alternative is candidates like Zohran Mamdani. That's what we have to fight against a president and a Republican Party that wants to take away all of our rights to vote and is going to work hard at doing that every single fucking day between now and the midterms. Let alone the fact that, let's say Democrats do win the midterms and take control of the House and the Senate. On the first day of the new session of the next House of Representatives in very early January 2027, Mike Johnson will still be Speaker of the House until all of those new representatives are sworn in and seated. Ask the representative-elect from Arizona right now how that's working out for her. It's been 35 days. Longer than that. Mike Johnson still won't swear her in because that would mean release of the Epstein files. It's like the Republican Party, under the name, under the guise of Christianity and Jesus Christ, is doing absolutely everything in its power to protect pedophiles and billionaires. Neither party is representing the interests of the bottom 90% of Americans. Neither party is. The Republicans just want to do away with government, but have just enough government to control everything in our lives: who we can love, who we can marry, what we can learn about in school, who we're allowed to have sex with. Democrats will let you do all of that stuff, but they're still going to be beholden to AIPAC and corporations, and we'll bend over backwards for the military-industrial complex along with Republicans, and we'll bend over backwards also to permit corporations to fucking bleed us dry. So I'm sorry that I'm bringing people down. Last night was a great night. Zohran Mamdani's speech uplifted me quite a bit. I highly recommend that everybody hop over to YouTube and watch that. It will make you feel better. Zohran Mamdani's speech will make you feel better. It just will. And I think for me right now, that just kind of has to be enough,